Good morning, Internet, and Arlington, and Ronan, and happy bunnies everywhere. It is Friday, July 14th, and I'm assuming that day has something to do with rabbits. I don't know.
Hopefully,
I,
unless they're just speaking nonsense over there.
well, all traditions start as nonsense, so maybe we should make July 14th Rabbit Day.
Oh, maybe.
I'm tired of Easter having monopoly on rabbits. We need a second rabbit holiday during the year.
Well, is Easter rabbits or bunnies?
Well, now I don't know the difference. I know the difference between a rabbit and a hare. What's the difference between a bunny and a rabbit and a hare?
I don't know.
Yeah, this is why we need more holidays about them. Clearly, we're extremely
yes.
uneducated. Aside from my nonsense, how are you today, Ronan?
I am doing pretty good, and I am doing especially good today because, well, not only is today Friday. Well, I mean that might have some case on it, but traffic was really good.
Yes.
Like I got into into the Beltway, and it was only saying 15 minutes left, and I was like, oh my goodness.
We're still deep in the days of everyone's on vacation.
Yes.
Which it's a little lonely to walk around town, but you're right. Driving has been wonderful for about 2 weeks now.
Not only that, but I have no clue if some companies have implemented a work from home on Fridays or whatever.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of that going on, and Fridays and Mondays are probably somewhat popular choices.
Yes.
But no, a lot of this I think is just summer vacation happening. Speaking of happening, you are taking another little trip next week. Is that right?
That is correct. I am fully leaving Wednesday, but a half day on Tuesday, and then so on until I come back next Tuesday.
So, all viewers take note. You need to be here Monday and Tuesday if you want your Ronin fix. Well, Monday we have another guest.
Yes.
So yesterday we had Kadisha Honesty on, and Monday's another guest coming, and then I think Tuesday is going to be guestless as of right now.
Dang.
No one on the docket. So Tuesday is going to be another episode of just you and me.
Mhm.
But then.
But one of the viewers
Ronin-less.
could be on the dock.
What's that?
I said one of the viewers could be on the dock.
Yeah, if somebody's
So they
watching
need
right now,
They need a comment.
you just email or go to glassrivermedia.com, and there's a comment form on there, and just say, hey, I want to be on the show.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it happens. People come on and they recommend their friends, and people watch and they say, hey, this seems kind of cool.
Yep.
So by all means, let's come see us next week. But other than that, we're only going to get 2 days of Ronin, and the world will be worse for it.
Oh, jeez. I was going to say for better or for worse.
Anyway, today's Friday.
Yep.
If anyone is currently watching, I am hoping that we make your day slightly better. We don't go for massively better. We go for slightly better.
Well, yeah, because we're only beating Excel spreadsheets. So.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have to do is be
Yeah.
better than Excel. Well, Excel spreadsheets or Zoom meetings,
Yep.
and so I feel pretty good that we can lick both of those.
Hopefully.
We're maybe not better than a night at the movies or a theme park, but we're a pretty good choice for Friday morning.
I mean, you talk about movies. We are going to talk about movies today.
Oh, are we?
Yes.
Is your article about movies? Do you want
It
to
is.
get into that?
Sure, why not?
Let's
Well,
show-
first we need to switch to camera 2.
Of course, as always.
But yeah, today you're going to give us a history lesson. So hopefully you
I'm going to give a lesson.
Yes,
Okay.
hopefully you have come prepared.
As always, viewers, I don't know what we're about to see. This is sort of a bit of a game show, actually.
Yep. So hopefully you've come prepared.
I have not.
Okay. Well, today we are
All right.
talking about Oppenheimer.
Film print. Okay.
Yes.
IMAX 70mm film print in 3 steps. How to ship it? Is this going to be a video we're going to watch?
Yep. It's
All
a
right.
video we're going to watch.
Let's take a look. All right, we got the film running. We got the platters. Step 1, after testing it, take apart all 53 reels that make up the print. All right, that's a lot of film. One movie.
Yep.
All right, we got them all stacked up. Numbered. Imagine you're just missing one. Place 6 reels per box until the full print is packaged and ready to go. Step 3, finally ship all 530 pounds of each film print to each film location. Okay, that's pretty cool. So, for the record, Kirk, our other person here, who's part of Glass River but not part of our show, he's the real film expert. He's worked in movie theaters. He's worked in Hollywood. He'd be able to tell you a lot more than I can. But I do know a little bit. The first thing here to note is if people are saying, well, why isn't this digital? It mostly is. Hollywood is digital now. Most movie theaters are digital. There's a couple of directors, Christopher Nolan being one of them, who is just all in on the film bandwagon, not just films, but specifically IMAX film,
Yep.
which is double the size of regular 35 millimeter film. So not only is this film existing because it's what he wants, it is larger, physically larger
Mhm.
than other movies. I don't know percentages, but I would say most movies these days are shown digitally, and film is kind of a niche product now. But as you can see, here, go ahead and play it in the background while we're
Okay.
talking. As we can see, still exists, still
Mhm.
happens. Something I think, history-wise, people don't necessarily know is, all movies came on multiple reels. You can't fit it on, one huge reel for shipping.
But is 53 like an uncommon amount,
That
or is
sounds
that?
like a lot. Yeah, it's a long movie and it's IMAX, so it's a bigger size. I think this is just for shipping. Sometimes they'll combine them from 53 down back to 6 when they get them or
I
something,
see.
because there are bigger. You can see right there. There's a bigger reel right there
Yep.
than the 53, so they can be combined. But yeah, going all the way back through theater projections, what you would do is they have two projectors in the booth, and one is playing one reel and the other one's ready and waiting with, so number one is almost done, and then they start number two and switch over. We're used to this, Ronan. These days, you and I do it where it's like you start the Vimeo stream,
Yes.
and then you get the graphics going, and then you hit go, and then once the stream starts, then you can start the video. It's kind of a manual process.
Yeah.
Worked the same way with film. There used to be, they would have a list. They would know when the break was coming, but also what the movie makers would do is it would end on a kind of a part where it didn't matter if you hit it perfectly. So if
I
you're
see.
ever watching a movie where it's like the main character goes to bed and then there's like a shot of a sunrise, well, that shot of the closed door and the shot of the sunrise, depending on how fast the projectionist is, you might see 1 second of closed door or 4 seconds of closed door.
That makes sense.
It's fine. It doesn't really matter. But there would be little dots on the screen in one of the corners. I think there'd be like a little flashing dot, and so they would watch for that. And when they'd see the flashing dot, they'd switch over, and it's something
I
that
see.
like the audience wouldn't notice. And so yeah, if you ever ask Kirk about it, he can literally tell you about doing all of this stuff. He used to play the film strips and do splicing sometimes. He knew how to repair film.
Yeah.
He worked at several movie theaters over the years, going all the way back to high school. So I know about this stuff from school and playing with little, but he actually worked in it.
I see.
Um,
So you kind of mentioned it with talking about like how special the IMAX 70 millimeter is.
Yeah.
With what Nolan's doing with this film, but I'm not sure how much you've caught up with this movie. But did you know there are very specific movie theaters that you can go to watch this film, like how it's meant to be shown?
I mean, there are different. IMAX as a brand means a lot of different things. There's like small IMAX and big IMAX, and I don't know what you're about to show me here. Best way to watch. Okay.
Yes. So there are very specific movie theaters because apparently some are cropped differently than others.
Yes.
So here's the list of the movies or the best theaters to watch.
Okay. What do we got
in the
here?
US.
San Francisco, Hollywood, California. What do we have a Washington D.C.
We do
or
not.
Virginia? We don't. So what's interesting, what used to be the big, huge one here is the Air and Space Museum was like the biggest IMAX theater
Yeah.
around here. What I don't know is it not in the business of showing these movies anymore? They used to show Hollywood movies there.
Yeah.
Or the building's being renovated. It's possible that
Oh, it
theater's
is.
not open right now.
That is true. It looks like
So
the closest one to us is Pennsylvania.
King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So that's an interesting one. I don't know where that is. It could be closer to us than New York, or it could be the far side of the
I
state.
see. Or could it be Georgia? Georgia's probably too
No,
far
that's
away
going
from
to be
us.
farther away. Yeah, it's either New York or Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
So okay, we're going to have to settle for second rate.
And here, let me cut to it so viewers can see.
Oh yeah, there we go. If you happen to live in any of these locations,
Yep, those are the best
Here's-
places to watch it.
here's where to go.
Actually, I am going to Florida, Fort Lauderdale. I don't know if that might
Well,
be closer to
see
me.
how close that is to your driving.
Yeah.
You're going a couple of places in Florida.
Yeah. And then here, I'll scroll down to Canada and UK and everything, Australia and Europe.
All of our Australian
Surprisingly,
viewers
how Europe
appreciate
is
it.
just one in the Czech Republic.
Interesting. Now, to be clear, this is not saying this is the only way to experience this movie, and not to say that any other theater is not going to also be incredible. That's just kind of like the pinnacle of what Christopher
Yes.
Nolan considers respectable.
Probably both movie like viewing video wise and audio. I'm not sure if audio matters or
I'm sure
is
it does,
different in
but
these theaters.
I don't know the difference between all the different theater setups. I am not a super theater purist. I like the theater experience.
Mhm.
I can tell the difference between like those tiny little multiplexes that are awful and like a bigger screen.
Yeah.
But once you get to the bigger screens, I'm not into the differences. To me, if it's bigger than my TV at home, I'm having a good time.
Fair.
So I am not super picky about this stuff, but some people are.
I was gonna say, yeah, one of the biggest things I saw, or biggest differences between one of these theaters and a standard like theater next to us is the aspect ratios are different. We'll see like black bars on
Okay.
ours, but on here it's gonna fill the screen and it's gonna be more immersive and bigger.
So for everyone watching, what if you don't know what an aspect ratio it is? It's this television here. Most TVs are 16 wide by 9 tall,
Mhm.
and when you make a movie, you have like bunch of choices. It does not have to be
Yes.
this shape. It can be wider and skinnier, or it can be taller and fatter.
Mhm.
Some of the and IMAX gives you this huge frame that you get to kind of decide what to do with. If one of the most interesting ways to experience aspect ratios is another Christopher Nolan film, the his Batman movies. He would
Mhm.
do a lot of the movie in 35 millimeter, and then the big action scenes in IMAX,
Oh.
and he did not crop them the same. So if you're watching it in a theater,
Mhm.
when like Bruce Wayne's just talking to Alfred in the mansion, it's like really widescreen, and then the big action scene starts, and the movie gets taller. So if you're watching it in an IMAX theater, the action scenes are filling the IMAX screen, and then
Yeah.
it gets narrower. And I don't know all the different streaming and DVD options, but I know that some of them preserve that. Where if you're watching it on a television, it's widescreen for the quiet parts,
Yeah.
and then it gets taller for the action parts, which is kind of interesting. Most people kind of pick film ratios when they make a film based on a lot of factors, but they generally pick one for the film. And Christopher Nolan doesn't play that way. He changes mid stride.
So if I remember correctly, the Asteroid City, the new Wes Anderson
Yeah.
movie also did that as well. Because
Oh,
I think it started as a 1x1.
Did you notice? Well, so Christopher Nolan does it because he wants like the maximum IMAX quality to be
Yeah.
immersed in the action, right?
Mhm.
With Wes Anderson, I haven't seen this movie yet. But with Wes Anderson, it very, very much may be a stylistic choice to represent different time periods or different. This is a movie, this is a TV. That
Yes.
like with Wes Anderson, I'm willing to bet it was very much an artistic choice more than a technical choice.
I see. But yeah.
Something else we saw within the last couple of years is did you see when the Justice League, they started making it with Snyder,
Yes.
and then they had to change. He had to drop out, and they changed directors,
Mhm.
and they made kind of a widescreen movie. Then they brought back Snyder to make an HBO cut,
Yes.
and he made it as it's not quite 1-to-1, but it's almost a square movie.
Oh, interesting.
And that was his choice that he wanted to do. He wanted it to feel it's more square, and I haven't read exactly what his reasons for that were, but it definitely makes for a unique movie going experience.
It does.
So the old one's widescreen, the new one's kind of squarish.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, aspect ratios are interesting. They definitely, like I said, there's a lot of factors that go into which one you're going to pick, and they can definitely give you a different feel.
Mhm.
One of the other, there's certain directors are very, very much into the technical side of movie making. James Cameron is the other one. The Terminator movies.
Mhm.
I don't know if you recall, Ronan, back in the day, movies used to mostly be wide. And then when you get a VHS tape on your television, we didn't have widescreen TVs back in the day.
Yeah.
You'd get a cropped one. And so what they would usually do is you take the wide movie and you just chop off the edges. And
Oh.
so you're watching Jurassic Park, and you don't see, there's like 3 dinosaurs, you only see 1 dinosaur because the
Interesting.
ones on the
Yeah.
left and the right have been cut off. It used to be you could buy on VHS and DVD, you could get the full screen version, which is the cropped one,
Uh-huh.
or the widescreen version, which puts the black bars on the
Mhm.
top and the bottom of the TV. And so I remember as a teenager, like I always had to make sure I was buying the widescreen DVD, not the full screen DVD. It was a thing. It was like, make sure you get the
I see.
the one
Yeah.
that shows you the whole picture. James Cameron had a different solution to this problem.
Mhm.
I know he did it on Terminator 2. I don't know if he did it on all his movies, but I know Terminator 2 did this. He shot the movie planning on both the theater widescreen and the TV square version
Okay.
on purpose, he'd have a full frame of film, right?
Hmm.
And he had on his monitors lines for both of these versions that he'd be shooting simultaneously. So in a James Cameron movie, um, like let's say you take widescreen Jurassic Park and you chop off the dinosaurs on the edge, right?
Yeah,
For a James Cameron movie, he has the widescreen version. Then the one you see on TV, nothing's chopped off, but more information is added back on the top and the bottom.
I see.
He has made a full screen version that is up to his standards. So there is a full screen Terminator 2,
Yeah.
but it's not, nothing's chopped off. Because he planned on it from the beginning,
Hmm.
which is kind of a unique way of doing it. It's a lot more work. Usually in film production, what you do is you shoot the full frame of the film, which
Yeah.
is more square-like,
Mhm.
and you have your lines on your monitor that you know it's going to be widescreen, and then it's okay for like the boom mic to be in, or you see like lighting fixtures and stuff.
Mhm.
You'll see stuff in the film. They edit it, then they chop it all off because they know it's going to get chopped off.
Yeah.
James Cameron had to make that movie keeping it entirely clean because he knew that he was going to use it eventually.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, if you can ever get your hands on widescreen and full screen versions of Terminator side by side, or Terminator 2, that's an interesting
Yeah.
way to look at aspect ratios. Or just watching, the Batman Nolan movies is another way to see some aspect ratio changing. Those are the two ones I know that can give you a sense of aspect ratios within a single movie, as opposed to comparing, different movies against each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway,
sense.
lots of random
Yeah.
film knowledge. One other aspect ratio story I know is Back to the Future came out in 1985, which means they were making it in 1984. Robert Zemeckis knew and heard that, hey, widescreen TVs are coming. So he picked his ratio for Back to the Future. It's very close to 16:9. It's not exact,
see.
but it's very close.
Mhm.
Because he was like, this will crop better for televisions. These new TVs that are coming. Well, that was 1984. We mostly started getting widescreen TVs around the year 2000. So he was about 16 years too early. But
Yeah.
he was. I mean, I gotta figure the guy directing Back to the Future is looking towards the future. He future-proofed Back to the
I was
Future.
gonna say you would hope so, but yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a movie that fits televisions very well, because even back in 1984, he was planning on that. But I always say there's nothing wrong with letterboxing. There's nothing wrong with black bars on the top of your screen,
Nope.
or in the case of Justice League, on the side of your screen. Just watch it as best you can, given the screen you are given.
Yes.
It's always actually one more story I saw the other day. Somebody took scenes from Harry Potter,
Okay.
fed them into AI to make them fill a vertical frame. So like if you're watching them on your phone,
Huh.
so it's a shot of like them out walking in the woods, and the computer puts in like fake trees on the top and fake grass on the bottom,
Mhm.
and it just makes it tall.
Interesting.
It was very cool, but it clearly would, I think, only work. These were scenes where the camera was locked down, and it's stuff where it's like a forest or like the interior of
Oh,
a
I see.
castle.
Yeah.
But like if you were doing a camera motion, or you were doing any other location,
Mhm.
it's like, how would it decide what's to put up there? It's like basically these were given the computer easy mode,
Yeah.
but it was pretty cool. It was definitely a look at the future where you could tell your computer to just make a movie fit your screen, and
That's
it
cool.
just might do it.
Well, another thing about aspect ratios and things. Have you ever been to the AMC in Kingstown?
Kingstown. Yes, and is that an AMC? I thought that was
Oh
a Regal.
no, my bad. Yes, the Regal in
The Regal in Kingston. Yes, I was there last week.
So they have, I forgot exactly. I think they call it the Screen X or whatever.
Mhm.
But they have the 270-degree screen where
Oh.
it's not only the screen in front of you, but there's also the screens on the side as well.
I have not been in there. So I have been. My story there is there have been historically certain theaters, and in Washington D.C., the one called the Uptown was the one
Mhm.
where it has a curved screen. This was pre IMAX. This is back to like the 1950s, I think.
'Kay.
The screen was so large. They started making screens so large
'Kay.
that you know how light works. It comes out of a projector,
Yes.
and it makes a cone, or like a triangle,
Mhm.
away from the projector. And so you can imagine this: the light hitting the center of the screen travels less distance than the light hitting the edges of the screen.
Yes.
And once you reach a certain size, the edges start to become out of focus because you have focused the lens for a certain distance.
That makes
And
sense.
so now the edges are out of focus, and so they would curve the screen so that every point of the screen would be the same distance from the projector. And I'm sure there's more theaters like that in California, around LA. We had one in Washington D.C.
Hmm.
Going back years and years. I saw one of the Lord of the Rings there, and short of an IMAX, it's the most immersive, large kind of thing you can
Yeah.
imagine. So tell me, this thing you've just said, I've not experienced it. Is it like that, or is it actually different screens?
It is different screens. I think it's different projectors. I think they have like 3 or 5 projectors there,
Hmm.
and they just cast them onto the wall as well.
Interesting. Okay, I
But yeah,
will. I will have to check that out. I did not know that existed.
I forgot exactly what movie I watched there, but I watched one of the Will Smith movies.
Recently.
Yeah, it was within the last 2 years.
Okay, not sure which one that would be. All right. Well, I will have to check that out because that is
Bad Boys. That's what it was.
okay. That is of the 3 movie theaters that are equal driving distance for me. That's one of them. So I end up there
Hmm.
a fair amount.
But yeah,
Very cool.
it's only select movies that are there. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
the
sure.
last one I remember or not watching, but seeing on their website was Wonder Woman.
Okay. So
But yeah.
it's maybe I have not seen any movies that have offered that. But no, I'm curious now. I will have to check that
Yeah.
out.
Oh yeah, and then whenever I talk to my dad about that theater, because I'm always like, oh yeah, they have a 270-degree screen. He's always like, that's hot. I'm like, oh my goodness.
You can't talk to dads. I should know. Yes, I'm surprised I didn't make that joke myself.
Yes.
Anyway, we're gonna let everybody go because we've talked about
We have.
movie film for long enough. Although that is a very good Friday topic.
Yep. And although that movie's not coming out this Friday, it
It's
is
next-
next Friday.
So yeah, next Friday is Oppenheimer and Barbie, and
Yep.
everyone I know wants to see both in the same day.
Eh.
I would highly recommend it myself. Going to try that. I don't. See, here's the real argument. Which order do you go in?
That is
My
true.
personal is Barbie, then Oppenheimer, but I could see the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you just want to end on a happier note.
Yep. And next week we're going to be talking about the Barbie movie. So
Okay,
Yes.
we'll do that. Well, we got to do it before you leave on Tuesday.
Yep.
So what is that? I mean, we just might have to wait till you get back. It's not timely and newsworthy, but I don't know how we can talk about it. 4 days before it comes out.
I mean, we talked about Oppenheimer the week before it came out. So
Good point. So we'll maybe find a way to. Actually, one little weird tidbit here. Saw a movie last week.
'Kay.
Had the Barbie trailer.
Mhm.
Seen that trailer online. It was edited, but so slightly. Like I would tell you that it probably had like 4 seconds taken out of it. Like there was like 2 shots that I remember that I was like, wow, they just skipped that shot. So
Yeah.
I've definitely seen movie trailers that are drastically different for different audiences or different uses.
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever seen a trailer that was so close. It was like 96% the same. It was just like maybe the one online is like 2 minutes and 6 seconds, and the movie theater is like it's got to be 2 mints. You
Yeah.
know, like they had to cut. You're used to this. You got to cut like 4.5 seconds out of a project or something.
yep.
Because yeah, it was almostly identically the same trailer, just very very slightly different. So I don't know, no comment on that. I just thought it was very strange.
Yep.
So anyway, everyone still watching, thank you for joining us. Come back Monday for all new guest. Come back Tuesday for Barbie talk, and hopefully y'all have a good weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Hopefully. Bye.